All right, our first segment of the day, we are going to be discussing 401ks today. I've got Marcus Warren, tax and financial planner, back with us here on Wave Listens Live, and it's always good to see you.
Good to see you.
Let's start. You've got several tips we're going to go through today, kind of different slides, so the folks at home will be able to follow along with us. And so let's start with the first tip here on 401ks. It says leave your 401k with your old company. All right, what do we do with that?
Yeah, so most people have 401ks. If you work for a company, hopefully you have a company retirement plan and you have a 401k. Unfortunately, the average person changes jobs at least 7 times. And so if you have a 401k, you have a few different options. And the first one you mentioned was you can leave it with your old employer. And of course, you can do that. Not sure why, because they're the old employer.
Right.
There's a lot of different things that go into that. Number one is they still have control. You don't have control. So they can change administrators, they can change custodians, the people who actually hold the money. They can charge you different fees, things of that nature. And if you keep it at the old employer, you're also limited with the number of investment options you have. Generally, 401ks have 10 to 15 investment options, and you're kind of constrained to whatever those investments are. So you don't have control. Fees, it's best to at least do something else with it than leave it at the old employer.
Yeah, and no offense to people's previous employer, but there's probably a reason that they're your old employer, so why give them control over any aspect of your life?
Absolutely, you got it right.
Okay,
yep.
So that brings us to number 2 here. Transfer it to your new company 401k plan. That's an option for people too.
Yeah, so most people need to realize that their 401k plan, it is portable. So you leave your old employer, you can transfer it to your new employer. However, the only thing about that is you still run into those same issues that you had with the old employer. Number one, you don't have full control. You're still limited to the investment choices that you have. Most have 10 to 15 or 20 investment choices. And then, of course, internal fees. You're not really sure if you're going to get a good deal on the internal fees that you're paying. And so when you have it at your old employer, you can transfer it over to your new employer, but that's not always the best option either.
Okay, option number 3 that you could do is always cash it out, but I'm sure that comes with some tax implications along with who knows what else.
Yeah, you got it. So of course you can cash it out, take that money, do whatever you want with it, but you have to think about taxes and even penalties. So if you have a 401k and you leave your old employer and you decide to just take it all in a big lump sum, if you're not careful, and most of the times people are not, you're going to find yourself with a big tax bill. So say, for instance, you had a $100,000 401k, you took it out, right? And so when we're talking about taxes, say you're in the combined state and federal tax bracket of 30%, right? So you're paying 30% taxes on that. And then if you're not 59.5, there's an additional 10% penalty. So you can find yourself taking out $100,000, but having to pay over $40,000 in taxes. So cashing it out generally isn't the best option. Obviously, people need it for a critical concern or something like that. You got to weigh your options, but taking it out and just taking it as a big lump sum, not the best option.
Okay, so maybe only use that option if it's an emergency situation and a 40% hit is less of a hit than whatever it is that was going on in your life.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Option number 4, you can roll it over to an IRA.
Yeah, and so this is probably the best option.
Okay.
The most popular option that people utilize is they have their old 401k. You can roll it over into an IRA, a self-directed IRA, where you basically gain control of it, right? When it was with your old 401k provider, your old company, you don't have control. Now, when you roll it over, you have control. You have control over the investment options. When you're limited in your old company plan, now you basically have the investment universe to invest in. You can invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cryptocurrency if you like to do things like that, right? You can do whatever you want to with it. So you have those investment choices. Fees, right? You can control fees. You can control what custodian or the people who hold your money, whether it's a Fidelity, Charles Schwab, you can pick who you want to hold those assets. And then last but not least, you can choose to work with an advisor. You can obviously do it yourself, but I always recommend working with a good fiduciary advisor who can guide you along the way, make sure you have the correct investment choices in there.
Okay, all great options. Obviously, we've got this popped up now because we want people to be able to schedule a 15-minute phone call with you and talk about all the options we just discussed, maybe rolling over that old 401k. So why is just taking the time out of your day, making sure to plan this and do a call with you, how can that help somebody who says, okay, this information is great, but I'm in a good place right now? I would imagine it still benefits you to talk to a professional.
Yeah, especially in regards to 401ks, right? Because whatever job you're doing, right? When you get that 401k, you're kind of handed a packet of information. They say, hey, we have a 401k. You pick your investment options, and then you basically set it and forget it, and you don't think about it again. Now, when you leave that company, the best option is to roll it over. You can call our office. We are a rollover specialist. You roll it over into an IRA, where now you have the opportunity to sit down with a good planner, aka Warren Wealth Management and Tax Planning, and we can guide you along and help you make those good investment choices based on your risk tolerance, your time horizon, things of that nature. So it's really important if you have an old 401k to roll that over so you have control.
Okay, it's good information to know. I also want to make sure people have a chance to listen to you. We got about a minute left. You are active in the podcast community as well. There's areas that people can go and kind of listen to some of this expert advice from you.
Yeah, so we have a podcast, the Marcus Warren Show, and it's basically wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We talk about retirement, we talk about investments, we talk about the current economic activity and things of that nature that's out there. A lot of good information, Brian. More importantly, it's entertaining, right? I want to give infotainment, not just boring financial jargon and stuff. I want to be entertaining, and it's good. Check it out.
Yeah, you can use some entertainment and enjoy it at the same time.
There you go.
And nothing better than that. Okay, if you want to plan that phone call, we've got the information for you here. Warren Wealth Management and Tax Planning. You can see the phone number and the website on your screen, and there it is again. Your reminder to schedule that 15-minute phone call. Talk about rolling over that old 401k. Thanks for stopping by Listens Live. You always have great information for us. I feel like I need to take notes during these shows, but it's great stuff.
I don't see a pen over there. You need
it's up there on the it's on the ledge.
You're taking mental notes.
I'm taking mental. Yeah, I got the scripts in my desk. So
All right.
Good to see you as always.
Good to see you.
All right, stay with us here on Wave Listens Live. We are